Good morning to all of you. Welcome back to the Namaste experience on this beautiful Friday. It is a crisp, beautiful morning here at Namaste Village, as it is most days, as it is always within us. Crisp beauty. Not sure where I'm going with this, but there is a crispness, crisp, whatever. You get the idea. Something inside of us is crisp and fresh. I'll just stop. Crispness, yes. So I was thinking this morning that here at Namaste Village, that we would do well to think of this as an ashram. What is an ashram? An ashram is a place that has been set aside only for the remembrance of God, or only for the remembrance of the divine. And I believe that's what this is. And it doesn't necessarily only mean those of us who live within the walls of Namaste Village, but all of you who are joining us either live on Zoom or on YouTube. It's a decision to remember only God, to remember only the divine. And if there is a place where we can join together and do only that, beautiful. But that place, that sacred place, is always within us, most especially. Yeah, it's especially crisp within. I'm just going to dig this one in right into the dirt. But a place that has been set aside only for the remembrance of the divine. What do you feel when you recognize that place, when you or realize that that is the place where you are, that is exactly who you are in this place? There's something that comes alive within us, a determination that we feel and know when we recognize that we are in that place that has been set aside only for the remembrance of the divine. What else could it be? Is this a place where we just come together to watch movies and have dances and have a few meals together? No, those things happen. But that's not what this place is. We have to claim it first for what it is. And in doing so, claim who we are for who we are. So this morning, we're going to hear from Ananda Mayama, and hear how she determines to claim only that through what she calls japa, or the remembrance of God, the continued remembrance of the divine, to always have God, the beloved, in the front of your consciousness, not the back. Maybe you'll have beads like these, and maybe you'll have something that can remind you to continue that japa in your mind, to always have God in the forefront of your attention. Many of you have heard Paramahansa Yogananda's beautiful prayer, God, God, God. At the very end, he prays, in waking, in eating, in working, in dreaming, in sleeping, by serving, while meditating, while chanting. Divinely loving, my soul will constantly hum, unheard by any. God, God, God. My soul hums. That's what japa is to have that humming of the presence, not just the name of God, but the presence of the divine, the presence of the one, always humming within us. Imagine how that would change your life if you constantly felt that hum. If your gaze projected only that, people would feel that, wouldn't they? They couldn't be in your presence and not feel that same hum, because that is the same hum that is within each one of us. But it is ours to notice it, to focus on it. It's like anything else. It can be in the back of our mind, but if we're not paying attention to it, we don't hear it. So we're here to hear the hum of God, 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 a single desire. So this is what Anandamaya Ma says. Wherever God may keep you at any time, from there must you undertake the pilgrimage to God realization. In all forms, in action and in non-action, is the one. Let me read that one more time. Wherever God may keep you at any time, from there you must undertake the pilgrimage to God realization. While attending to your work with your hands, keep yourself bound to him by sustaining japa, the constant remembrance of God in your heart and in your mind. The way to peace lies in the remembrance of God and God alone. My soul will constantly hum, unheard by any. God, God. So how do we keep this remembrance humming inside of us? I think it begins by making a resolute decision that this is what I truly want, that there's nothing that this world will ever give to me that will eclipse that divine impulse for only one. So it's a decision we begin with, a knowledge, a recognition. And then there's an action or an activation that takes place within us, where we find some way that works for us, because it will be slightly different for each one of us. We find some way that helps keep that focus. Once again, for me, I always like to have the beads. And even when I am in conversation or even when I'm doing something, my fingers, you'll probably notice my fingers will just be still running through the beads, because even unconsciously, it keeps my focus on that hum of God, God, God. So each one of you needs to find your way of keeping that focus there. And you will know when you have done that, because there will be a constant elevation that you will feel. There will be a continued revelation that will be bubbling up inside you. Even while you're doing all the ordinary tasks that you do, all the conversations you have, there will be something that is lifting. Because in the front of your consciousness, you have only one goal. So once again, an ashram is simply a place that has been set aside for that. All the other things that we do are what we do. But we don't want to confuse who we are with what we do. We want to recognize and to realize that who we are is that constant hum. That is who you are, that hum that says God, God, God. So when you're tuning into that hum, what you're really tuning into is you, the truth of who you are. And what greater dedication can there be but that? So in reading Ma's little quote there, I felt inspired. I felt that hum. I felt that recognition beginning to move within me. And so this is what I wrote. By knowing yourself with a capital S, you know God. And by knowing God, you know yourself. That makes sense, doesn't it? If there's only one thing. Because God is infinite love beyond all form and all concepts of duality, the same must be true for you. Otherwise, you would not be who you are, or as God knows you to be. You would not be as God knows you to be. You would instead be an illusion of what you claim, which is not in alignment with the vision that God holds of and for you. That's important. So let me back up again. Because God is infinite love, we can claim that together. God is infinite love, beyond all form and all concepts of duality. The same must be true for you. Otherwise, you would not be who you are, or you would not be as God knows you to be. You would instead be just an illusion. That's what you would claim, to be an illusion that is not in alignment with the vision that God holds of and for you. Anything that does not align with God, with what God holds of and for you, does not exist. Once again, anything that does not align with what God holds of and for you does not exist and can never be real, since nothing outside the mind of God has any true existence. Nothing outside the mind of God has any true existence. Hold on to that one. You, as you define yourself, do not have any true existence, but rather a relative existence based on the illusions that you project onto the screen that you call the world. That's interesting. There's no true existence outside that one mind, only a relative existence based upon what you're projecting onto the screen that you call the world, or what you bounce off of other people, what you bounce off of every aspect of the world that you claim. That's the relative you that you've claimed that is an illusion. It has no reality because it seems to exist outside the decision of that one pulse that God claims for you. What you are seeking is to know that you do indeed exist outside the dream that you have claimed. This is your only longing, your only quest, to know that you are real. You know, when you get down to it, isn't that what it really is? The quest to know that you are indeed real. Why? Because there's something deep within us that knows that the construct that we have made is not. There's something deep within us that recognizes that who we have claimed is not who we really are. And so there is always this longing to know, not to believe, but to know that we are indeed real. And once again, that is that hum that Yogananda talks about. This is your only longing, your only quest, to know that you are real. Reality does not exist outside the real, just as you do not exist outside of God. We could stop right there. That's the whole thing. Reality does not exist outside the real, just as you do not exist outside of God or outside of the one. Your ascent to the highest peak of this mountain begins with your willingness to surrender your vision and your version of you, of yourself. That's how you begin this ascent. Only then will you know joy. Only then will you know peace. Only then will you recognize the eternal I that forever recognizes you. In waking, in eating, in working, in dreaming, in sleeping, by serving, while meditating, while chanting, my soul will constantly hum, unheard by any, God, God, God. So, Vicky, I am going to pass it over to you and let you take it from there.
Well, good morning, Brother James. Good morning, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving again. Happy day after, but Thanksgiving is really a way of life. And so I love all that. It's been a wondrous week paying attention to the mother, because if there's a holiday that celebrates motherly love, I think it's Thanksgiving, because it's a holiday of unity. It's a holiday of coming together. And the mother's love, or one experience of God, God, God. If I'm going to translate it and I'm going to open to it, it's just love. Love that includes, it abides, it accepts. It's the only way I would know to let go of my version of me and of everyone else is just total acceptance of everything already God perfect. Must be God perfect no matter what it looks like. Must be God perfect. And from there, only love, only God, only now. The directions are simple, really simple. Yesterday, I was the first time, I have two younger sisters, and it's the first time the three of us celebrated Thanksgiving together, because I always was in the house, the Quincy house, and we always had a lot of people, usually around 80 people for Thanksgiving. And so I was there, and my sisters were in their houses, and we would, talk and send some food back and forth or visit for a minute. But we never spent time together. And yesterday was a celebration of love, pure and simple, pure and simple. And all it is acceptance. There's been whatever the ego tensions were, not everyone thought it was a great idea that I had 80 people for dinner. It wasn't everyone's idea of what Thanksgiving should be many times, but everyone's ideas had melted away under the gaze of love. And it's the mother's love. The mother's love is unity. The mother's love knows itself as love, and immediately, like you said, James, knows God. When we know ourselves, we know God because it's one. But at the same time, we know our brother. It is impossible to not know our brother if we know God and we know ourselves. And not know the costume. It's not about the costume our brother wears. We know our brother and we love him. And that's why we recognize if a brother's acting crazy, he's just calling for help, calling for love that he forgot he is. But that mother's love, that unconditional experience of acceptance without any judgment, it just brings, it's like an embrace. It's like arms that extend out and bring everyone in. And I love the idea of, at Ahihi, it is an ashram. Ashrams are living spaces devoted to God. And it's rare in time to have an ashram or any God-centered community that doesn't have one tradition, whether it's, Catholic or Buddhist or whatever, any tradition, without a leader. Usually there's a leader. And you certainly, James, are a leader in your own right, but not in terms of devoted disciples to you or to a way, but to the way, the universal way of love. That's very rare in time, but each of us are also that. That's why we recognize our joining together, that we have been called to this extended family. Like a mother calls her children home. We come home every day because we recognize that we have that vocation, that calling to remember God 24/7 and to live it, not just to be in a cave somewhere, but to be in the world and not of it, to live it wherever we are. with that frequency of welcome, that frequency of, because if we accept the moment and each other, if we know ourselves, we know God, we know each other, we know the love that is only there. And in that, everything else falls away. It's irrelevant. It's not important. And when love leads, peace and harmony follow. It's impossible they don't, because it's all one song, one note, one aspect of an orchestration of love. So I would bet you in all of our homes, I know, especially when I moved recently, my home is the altar. It's an ashram. Every room not just has a statue or a picture, or sometimes emptiness, just emptiness, because every room is dedicated to spirit and to the rejoicing and the blessing that spirit brings. And sometimes we have a chapel in our home. Someone will have one room that's dedicated where they meditate, or a chair where they meditate. I do. I have one chair mostly where I meditate, but I meditate everywhere, or hang out and abide. It's a better word for me. But the idea is that we live our lives in spirit. We all do it. Our homes are our ashrams, or whether it's a single room. And one of the best gifts coming to my sister's house, Noreen, coming here to Noreen and Harvey's house, it's always seamless, because their home is dedicated to God and to love too. So it's like I enter another part of my own ashram, just like when I go to Ahihi. I enter at full speed, already right at home. There's no adjusting, there's no figuring out how we should relate. It's just a given. Everyone belongs. When we all belong to each other, there's no adjustment period. There's no, oh, I have to see how to do this, how to do that. Everything is done with love. There's one way, it's always, and it's all the time. So Thanksgiving, unity, strength, beauty, those are the gifts. And this week dedicated to the mother's love was perfect. Perfect for Thanksgiving. Perfect for each of us to be grateful that we are living ashrams wherever we go, because we have our hearts open to welcome, recognizing every brother as the light. That's all. And whatever the costume, it's a good one. Let it be. Let it be. That's right where we start. It's all conspiring, like you say, James, to our awakening past every belief in any costume, to that one presence that we share. So happy, happy everything, blessed everything, everyone. I love you. And I think we have Scott, right, James, today?
Yeah, we're going to turn to Scott in just a minute. Anyone who wants to hang out and kind of recap the week. But I do want to say one thing just to reiterate what you shared, Vicky, and that is this ashram that we are claiming here is remarkably unique in many ways. And one of the main ways, as you mentioned, is that there is not a guru in the traditional sense. Uh, Even though I'm in a slightly higher platform, just so you can see me better, we're all on the same level. There's not a single person who is the focus, or a single teaching, even. Many of us, for examples, are dedicated to A Course in Miracles, but not everybody. Ultimately, we're all only dedicated to one thing, and that is the awakening. And to have a place where we can be together on the same level, vibrating, resonating this frequency, I think is much more valuable and much more helpful in my mind than one where there's only one at the top and everyone focuses on that one. My God, that's loud. The air brakes of a truck going by. Yeah, so where was I with that? Yeah, it's the helpfulness. And of course, in Miracles, it says, I am here only to be truly helpful. We can be truly helpful to one another when we look eye to eye. When you look at me, or we look at each other and realize we're all together in this. And ultimately, we're here as looking to the guru just to spell the word. Gee, you are you. You are as God created you. You are holy. You are perfect. You are the one. So let's live that today and remember the sacred context of this place that we have formed together, this holy ashram that we call Namaste Village. And together we say, Amen, 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 e punto.
Oh.
Thank you, everyone.